Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And as Crimsix gets roasted at the Subliner's own Meetup event last night, OpTic Texas completed a very nice comeback indeed in the Scrum set up against the Seattle Surge. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting that like button is the best thing you can do to help this channel reach new people. And please consider subscribing as well if you have not yet already. Firstly, this from Tommy, I miss it, he says. Definitely has been some talk from Tommy and Rated. Some of the Warzone guys, could they return to competitive play? Of course, getting a spot in the league, that's going to be very difficult. Challenges is not necessarily the way you want to go right now as well, with some of the issues going on on that scene, the lack of support, also potentially cheaters coming into play. We'll have a talk about that a little bit later today. So yeah, definitely not maybe the ideal route to take going forward, but interesting to have a think about regardless. This also from Clayster, Jesus, we are had to be said. So yesterday, there was a meetup party they flew out to New York, and they did this really awesome event, to be honest. It's really cool to see these local activations come into play, because, you know, for all the fact that maybe a lot of people would say, like, do these organizations need to be localized? Can't they just still be like OpTic, Envoy, like yeah, the old organizations that didn't necessarily have a city attached to them? But in fairness, like, they can give some local elements if they can actually do local events in those cities, which clearly they can in this case. That was particularly cool to see, I thought. This is Clayster said, it's been really, really cool. Thanks to everyone who came out for this event. So loads of people turned up. If you guys went to this one, hopefully you had a good time, and that there was certainly some entertaining things going on here as well. So a clip came out that I saw on the Reddit of well, they were doing some sort of a roast me type session. I'm not really exactly sure what it was, but you know, Aiden was here, and Crimsix of course was sitting down, and they did some sort of thing where, well, effectively you got up and roasted Crimsix, and I thought this one was particularly entertaining, really. This also, right, as a subliner say, breaking news, no more Slim6, you know, Porter says, you know, screw it, it's cake time, baby. And so yeah, maybe Slim6 is no more, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's gonna start dieting again after the holiday season and get in tip-top slim shape for the start of the season next time round. So I'll share this clip for you guys real quick, effectively saying his Modern Warfare ring that was won online is like kind of a Mickey Mouse ring, as some people are taking the mick out of for quite a long time, and Clayster obviously catches the same stray as well after winning that also alongside Crimsix on the Dallas Empire during the Modern Warfare season.
Alright, roses are red, Porsches are teal, just like his diet, his last ring ain't real.
Wait, that roasted me too.
So speaking of this kind of meetup, interesting stuff going on, there was this that came out from OpTic Texas yesterday. You won't expect this third game mode. We take on the LA Thieves in the Game Fuel Showmatch on the 14th of December. So tomorrow, there's on 2 days time from now, there's a Showmatch going on at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Now, this is really interesting, to be honest. I'm not sure how exactly this is going, but we expect this to be the full rosters. Now, I'm not sure if Courage had something to do with this, because Courage we talked about a couple of days ago now, like he's been talking to Activision, trying to get through to them on some of these issues, and some of the big players concerns really that have been had so far this season have been, okay, why can't we as a team play against other teams in official competitive matches? Like you know, why can't the CDL put on 2Ks, 5Ks, some early tournaments, rather than just saying, yeah, you've got to wait till the kickoff event in January or whenever it's going to be to you know, to see how these teams play up against each other, right? That's kind of the issue. It's like, okay, why can't we get to see these players play each other in online tournaments that the CDL put on? Why do we have to wait around, right? Because, okay, they can play in online tournaments, but they have to play with only 2 of the guys because they're not allowed to use the proper branding, all this type of weird stuff going on. But maybe they've found a way to get around that issue, and if the CDL have actually been flexible on this, that's definitely a good sign for future seasons, to be honest, and what sort of kickoff events we might have online, hopefully, as soon as the game launches. So I mean, interesting also, they say you won't expect this third game mode, because I don't imagine Control is going to be played. I think this is probably just going to be played for fun. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, to see like prop hunts come through, or something kind of strange like that, or maybe they even drop into Caldera or something and play something along those lines on the Warzone tide. I don't really know what they're planning here, but still, it seems like a good time, because we know that in theory, like OpTic have probably been looking slightly better lately than Los Angeles Thieves, at least in terms of scrims, but you don't really know how they're actually going to be matching up. Of course, this is just for fun. There's not going to be any money on the line, but as LA Thieves say, throw the CDL rules out the window. We're going up against OpTic in a show match, you know, to see what crazy plays both squads can make. So maybe something's going on here, but I imagine this is the full CDL rosters playing each other in a show match, so maybe there has been some flexibility from the CDL. As you see, maybe Courage has been someone involved in orchestrating this. I thought it was pretty cool to see how this one goes, to be honest. With any luck, this will set the precedent for things going forwards as well, and it would just be interesting to see, even if they're not taking things too serious, how these squads are going to match up against each other in something of a more like official tournament capacity than just you know, scrims, of course, as we've seen the last few days. Speaking of scrims, OpTic was streaming their scrims, of course, last night. Stream is live. OpTic Texas team scrims as per usual from the Scump side. We'll talk about some of these OpTic scrims. There was also plenty of streams coming out out from Methods, right, with their rumoured 12th team scrims going on, because they didn't play in the Challengers Cup, I believe, that was going on last night and continuing into today, and we've kind of been theorising that maybe that's because if they don't win, then teams will look past them in terms of who they want to pick up, right, if an organisation is coming into effect to snap up that 12th spot. Of course, OpTic don't have those concerns right now. They were playing up against the Seattle Surge last night, and to the credit of Surge, they look really good at the present time. I think if people had to do power rankings right now, they might say, okay, FaZe Ultra is tough to look past them, but they've been looking pretty good early part of this game as well in the early scrims that we have seen. Then OpTic should be right there or thereabouts. Then there's plenty of other teams in the mix. But if there are some teams that are kind of like dark horses for this season, Seattle Surge, I think you've got to throw in the mix, at least based on their early performances here, because we saw a while ago they played FaZe in a scrim set, they wiped them 4-0, and they win this scrim set last night up against OpTic, which is no mean feat at all, because OpTic have been running through pretty much everyone as of late, and Seattle Surge get the better of them. So this team of Mack, Accuracy, Pred, and Sib, they seem to be performing really well so far in this title, so it's exciting to see, because those were some of the teams that I really thought with Seattle, they might kind of struggle at the start of the season, but towards the mid-year, towards the end of the year, if they stick together and the chemistry doesn't fall apart, they could be a real contender. If they're a contender earlier than that, it was kind of the similar thing to New York last year. I thought that New York, for example, the subliners, they would contend, they'd bring in Hydra, like they would contend towards the latter half of last year, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5 type thing, they'd be really solid. As it turned out, they were better really earlier in the title, stage 2, stage 3 especially, they were really solid. So maybe a similar thing here with Surge, where just another team to throw into the mix of squads that could be very competitive for this year. But one of these maps was very entertaining, especially this one, OpTic versus Surge on Bacage. I mean, it's very rare to see a game go 250, 240 on this map. Usually it ends by time or something kind of crazy like that. But, well, Zuma was actually casting over this scrim set. I do wonder what you guys think about this, right? Because Zuma, obviously his casting style that he does right here is not designed to be used on an official CDL broadcast. It's for entertainment purposes on his stream. But, I mean, still, this casting I thought was very entertaining, right? Zuma as a CDL caster could work, I suppose. And, I mean, yeah, Shotzi's making some ridiculous plays right here as they pull off a pretty crazy comeback to win this map here on Bacage.
Out of this contest spot, they can win it here, folks. Shotzi's gonna stay down and have everybody spawning out. The contest comes in, but here comes the trade from Shotzi. Shotzi picking up 1, Shotzi picking up 2. Trying to stay down. Big plays coming out of Shotzi. Able to stay alive. That's gonna be 3 dead. And OpTic really showing out here. The contests come in. They can't win anymore. They gotta get to next. They got 2 guys that knew Shotzi doing a little B-hop, mid-hop jump. These Halo kids are built differently. OpTic gonna break the hill. They're gonna slide on in. Shotzi! 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 Shotzi with a big 3-piece. And he shuts them down. And OpTic Texas bring it back.
Yeah, wait, are you muted?
Yeah, I am. You started playing for fucking Spawn.
So these were the overall series standings courtesy of CDL Scrim Intel. It was 3-5 for Seattle Surge in the end, as we saw that map 3 on Bacage there, and well, the first few maps went generally the way of Seattle, and then at the end, Tuscan and Gavutu went the way of OpTic as they kind of brought it back, and the second Bacage definitely doesn't go to 250, as that seems to be a rarity at the present time. But interesting to see regardless, because OpTic, as I said, been pretty much wiping out everyone as of late. This is a very competitive scrim set, and Seattle seemed to be right there with them. So exciting stuff to see, at least in terms of the competitiveness of this league going forwards. It's not all sunshine and rainbows though in terms of how this map played out. Not sure exactly what Bacage this was from. This might be either the third map or the final one that they played. But this is kind of a classic squad spawn type example here, where still at the old hardpoint is active. And, we've got this kind of setup from OpTic. Maybe player number 5 is pushed a little bit further than they would like to be. But you kind of think here with the situation with player number 6 and 8 in the back, with the new hardpoint about to pop, that probably the blue teammate should maybe spawn out here somewhere and have a difficult rotation that they're going to have to bring in. But maybe it's just because 5 spawns a little bit. Maybe he pushes that a little bit too far. And of course, the squad spawns, the way they work, like at player number 3 here, is going to anchor the entirety of the blue team, the team that isn't OpTic, to spawn right on top of them. Like, I mean, this is just how it works. 1 spawns up, 4 spawns up, and then 1 spawns in the back here, or maybe it's not 1. Like, sometimes the numbers are a bit glitched here. You kind of see that basically, like, despite it seemed like OpTic had full control of this type of situation, all of the enemy teams spawn right here, and they get the perfect setup for the new hardpoint. So I guess this was Seattle, and OpTic were red. Definitely some of these spawns which you think, okay, that really shouldn't make sense, but if you know how it works and how it operates, you probably can play slightly differently to prevent this situation happening in the future, I would argue, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Like, see if teams adapt, because in Modern Warfare, for example, most people would say that, yes, the squad spawns were kind of crazy, but towards the end of the year, you could relatively well predict and understand what was going to happen in certain situations. Even if the spawns don't make so much sense in terms of how the game should play, you can understand probably what they will do in most situations, at least 90% of situations. Some percentage of the situations are going to be crazy regardless, but, generally generally, I think pros got pretty good towards the end of the year making things work. This also from Seattle Surge last night then, because they also played up against the 12th team, or, rumored 12th team, that being Zinni & Co. 7-1 in favor of Seattle Surge right here. So after losing the Berlin, maybe weren't particularly warmed up, they run through the rest of the maps all in a row, like Bakaj 250 to 89. They looked really solid right now. So it wasn't just OpTic, they were putting up a very good fight against indeed. They also played that being the 12th team, or, rumored 12th team. It's actually may very well not be there, right? We might even not get a 12th team, but that's what people are theorizing right now. They played against the Rokkr, and it was 3-2 to Zinni & Co. So definitely kind of shows the difference in caliber right here, because Rokkr, they've been kind of struggling lately, but Seattle, they look there or thereabouts. OpTic is certainly right up there as well. So yeah, definitely exciting stuff as we move into the season, hopefully sooner rather than later. And just to finish off with this clip here from Shotzzy, I thought was pretty remarkable. Not just this one when he's, throwing some nades and taking out some guys in some team scrims, but just some pretty disgusting plays all around. He dodges a missile right here. This is just classic Shotzzy, frankly. And then on Bakaj, this guy is obviously going to be a menace no matter what he does. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting that like button helps the YouTube gods know this is a good video. And it's like you should see it as well. And help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
I'm needing Brandon. My gun is not up yet.
Two there.
I'm here.
I got three.
Oh boy, watch out! Absolute pre-fire. Absolute. Don't block. We should be good.
No, they factor to I might eat it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna eat it.
What's that middle hop?
It's all four. You can
Yo, front door.
Nice.
Get to me. Try to get to me.
No, just stay in hill. Middle Standy. One hit going. Barrel door.
Dead.
He's one hit. Nice. They're gonna be a
Nice. Back window's in.
back window. I got weak.
Nice. I still in mid-street.
One more friend.
Yo, get AC. I have hill.
One more kitchen.
Nice.
Let's get it, baby.
I feel like